Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sara. Welcome back to Faith with Sara, the second episode. I told myself I was going to be consistent. I didn't, life got ahead of me. I'm back now, inshallah. It's Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak, everybody. Um, my goal this month is to focus on my prayer and my understanding of the Quran, whoa. So I'm gonna be consistent at least this month, and inshallah for the rest of the time it will take me to analyze and talk about the Quran in English, because that is the whole point of this podcast. I need to understand Islam and the Quran. So yes. So welcome back. Today we are going to be diving into Surah Al-Fatiha, and I'm going to be talking about the meaning of Surah Al-Fatiha. I'm going to read it in English and in Arabic. I'm going to be talking about the backstory, the summary of it, and things I find kind of interesting about it, and then my take, and then what we're going to be doing next after this episode. So, yeah. So before reading surahs, we typically say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, which means I seek refuge with God from Satan, the accursed. So, I'm going to start with reading Surah Al-Fatiha. So, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. So, Al-Fatiha means the opening chapter. It's like the opening, basically, and it is the opening chapter of the Quran. The English translation is, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, praise be to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of judgment, thee do we worship and thine aid we seek, show us the straight way, the way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, those whose portion is not wrath, and who go not astray. So, I have two Qur'ans with me. Well, I have one that's English, like fully English, and then I have another one that's Tajweed Qur'an with meaning, translation in English, and it also has transliteration, and then index on the Qur'an topics. So I just read from the Tajweed one, and I'm gonna read what the meaning is in the other Quran. It's the Clear Quran series, English only, which is a thematic English translation by Dr. Mustafa Khattab. It's kind of a little bit more like, you understand it a little bit better, and it's not like old time words. So, in the name of God, the most compassionate, most merciful, all praises for God, Lord of all worlds, the most compassionate, most merciful, master of the day of judgment. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Guide us along the straight path, the path of those you have blessed, not those you are displeased with, or those who are astray. So, there we go. That was two different, translations, but I do think the second one is a little bit more, understandable. So, that was Surah Al-Fatiha in Arabic and in English. So, in this episode, I wanted to mention the backstory of the surah. I want to try and mention the backstory of the surahs in every single episode, every single surah that we go over, obviously. And because I'm really interested in, the events behind it, when did this happen, why did this happen, etc., etc. So, the backstory of Surah Al-Fatiha is kind of, I've seen different narrations, but let's go first. I'll talk first about the Yaqeen Institute of Islamic Research, what they said about it. So, according to them, it was revealed in Mecca while Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was with the Archangel Jibril, or Gabriel, and a new gate from heaven opened, and another angel revealed the surah along with the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. And the angel called these two lights that have been given to you as gifts, and no other prophet has been given these two surahs. And that angel said that you will be granted your supplications, which is dua, every time you recite these verses. The second narration I saw was, I think, Quran.com, and they had said that Angel Jibril was the one to give that revelation to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and there wasn't really a mention of two lights, which I will go more into a little bit later. That was another narration I saw. The other narration I saw was that Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Fatiha were not revealed together. Only Surah Al-Fatiha was revealed and Surah Al-Baqarah later. But I will say specifically in this narration from Yaqeen Institute, it was the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah only. So it was fully Surah Al-Fatiha, but only the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. And some scholars say that this same revelation happened again in Medina later, but this chapter is still considered a Meccan chapter. It is a chapter that was revealed in Mecca, not Medina. So, yes. And another thing about this chapter is that it was revealed very early. And like I said before, it was revealed in full, which it was the first of that kind. And then, so it was revealed, so the first few verses that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was Surah Al-Alaq and Surah Al-Mudaththir, and then after was Surah Al-Fatiha in full. So, yeah. And then Surah Al-Alaq and Surah Al-Mudaththir are chapters, if I didn't mention that. So moving on, this surah it's described as the summary of the whole Quran. It is the greatest surah of the Quran, and it shows the basis of the Quran, the fundamental themes of Islam, and it can be called Mother of the Book. It is called al-Kitab, which is Mother of the Book, and it's the opening of the Quran. That's why it's literally called the opening. It opens the Quran, it opens prayer, and it is said to be an opening for believers that may face spiritual or personal difficulties. We recite this surah 17 times in the 5 daily prayers, and it talks about the relationship between God and us, His authority in this world and the afterlife, and humanity's dependence on Him for guidance and assistance. So it's basically saying, God is the ultimate creator and He is the Lord of all worlds. The basis is to acknowledge His oneness. He is the only God worthy of worship, and these themes are seen again a lot in the Quran, and they're also explained in more depth. But I think it's really good as a good summary of the Quran. It's the basis of the Quran. It's the basis of Islam. So, yeah, I think it's really great for non-believers and believers. Like, this is really what Islam is about. The oneness of Allah, our relationship with Allah. We depend on Him for guidance and assistance. And, He is the creator, and He is the one and only creator. And then something that I found that was interesting, going back to the two lights thing, that from the backstory of Surah Al-Fatiha, there's a hadith actually in Sahih Muslim 806, which is one of the two most authentic collections of hadiths within the Sunni sect of Islam. And then to explain hadiths are basically Islamic oral traditions, statements, sayings, actions of the Prophet ﷺ that his circle of his people accounted for and reported, and it accounts his daily prayers and practices, etc., etc. So, yeah, there's this hadith in Sahih Muslim, and it says that the Prophet ﷺ was given gifts that weren't given to other prophets, which are these two surahs, so Surah Al-Fatiha and the last few verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. And these are called the two lights, which refers to Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Baqarah. It basically says that these surahs are treasures and no one recites them without receiving a reward or good deeds or, receiving their du'as and supplications. So yes, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, which means God be pleased with him, said how important these verses are, and that people should recite the last verses of Surah Al-Baqarah before sleeping to protect them against evil. And he and Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, he was the cousin and son-in-law of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So my take and view of this surah is that it serves as a reminder. We are required to say it in every single prayer, and I'm pretty sure if we don't say it in a prayer, then that prayer is not valid. But we say it in every prayer, which, like I said before, is 17 times because we have 5 daily prayers. So saying it every single prayer is really big. It's something, it's like a reminder. And we say it multiple times each prayer. That's why it's 17, but we're reminded of it every single day, multiple times. We're reminded of our relationship with God. We're reminded of God, which is so important for Iman. So I think for me, it's a reminder. I agree with everything I've seen from the scholars. It's the opening, al-Kitab, and I think that it's a really good basis of the Quran. It's a really good summary. It explains what Islam is. So whenever somebody asks what is Islam all about, this surah basically sums it up. So I think that's why this surah is so important. It's so important to learn the meaning behind the surah and everything like that. So I'm really glad that I kind of took a deep dive into it, and I really am interested about the revelations. I wonder, I think the most accepted one is the one with the Yaqeen Institute of Islamic Research narrative, but that's what I think about Surah Al-Fatiha. We say it so much. We say it in our prayers. Growing up, I was always told to say Surah Al-Fatiha 7 times before I go to sleep, and then the big 3, Surah Al-Ikhlas, Surah Al-Nas, Surah Al-Falaq, 3 times each, and then also Ayat Al-Kursi, which is also in Surah Al-Baqarah. But yeah, and those oral traditions like that, I think is really important, and that is also shows kind of the weight of this surah. It is the greatest surah of the Quran. I don't know, it's something that I think can give peace, can be very peaceful. It's like reminding you of your purpose and your creator, and I think that's really important in our religion. So yeah, I think that's what I have to talk about in today's podcast. It's a very short surah. This is a very short podcast episode, but I think it's great for me to get back into the mojo. The next surah is not going to be as easy to look into, and we are going to be talking about Surah Al-Baqarah, the cow. Yeah, you've heard me mention that many times, and I don't think I ever explained the meaning. Surah Al-Baqarah is the cow. Also, I don't know if I should be saying surah or surat. I don't know Arabic. I can read it and I can write it, but I don't really understand. I'm trying to learn. I'm taking little classes and stuff by myself. So I apologize if I'm saying it wrong, but I think it's Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Baqarah. Baqarah, I think. But I may be saying it wrong, so I apologize for that. But yeah, that means the cow. Surah Al-Fatiha means the opening. Like literally it means the opening, and Surah Al-Baqarah means the cow. So yeah, that's the second chapter of the Quran. Surah Al-Fatiha is the first. Surat Al-Fatiha is the first. But yeah, that's the next few episodes are going to be difficult kind of for me to like dive into Surah Al-Baqarah. It's very long. I think it's the longest chapter. Let me check that. Yes, Surah Al-Baqarah is the longest surah in the Quran. So it's going to be difficult, but we have to get through it. I need to learn my religion. And yeah, that being said, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time.